Have you ever had a brand ask for your rate and instantly feel stressed out because you're sitting there thinking, yeah, what even is my rate these days anyway? Creating a dedicated rate sheet is one of the best ways to stay organized and up to date on all of your current pricing so that you can feel confident when a brand asks you for your rate, and I'm going to show you how to make one in today's video. I'm a fashion and beauty creator based in New York City, and I use this channel to help you create great content, grow your digital brand, and earn sustainable income from content creation. So if any of that interests you, please consider subscribing. Now, I've been a digital creator for a little over a decade, and when I first started getting paid, like real money offers from brands, I was completely mind blown. And creating an influencer rate sheet is one of the best things that you can do so that you save time and have quick access to your rates when a brand asks for them, and so you, as the creator, can see how your rates have changed and evolved over time. First, I'm going to share my screen in Canva to show you exactly how to create an influencer rate sheet for free. And then I'll meet you back here to discuss additional add-ons, how often you should update your rate sheet, and the big reason you might not want to share your rate sheet with brands. So stick around till the end of the video and let's hop over to the tutorial. So here we are in Canva, and the great thing about Canva is there are plenty of templates for us to choose from, so we don't need to start from scratch. And I looked earlier before filming this and realized that the best templates to search for this are to look up a price list. Now, a lot of these will look like price lists for restaurants and salons, but we're going to look for one that has a few different sections to it where we can list rates. And I think it's helpful to look for one that is sectioned off a little bit, more like this versus this, because we will have multiple deliverables for each platform that we're listing. There are so many good options. I think after an initial scroll, I'm leaning towards something like this. So here I have selected a template, and as you can see, it's a menu. Actually sounds like a really good menu and making me a little bit hungry, but we are going to completely transform this into our own rate sheet. So the first thing that I want to do is duplicate what is here already so that I can account for all of my different platforms, and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to separate everything. So first I'm going to delete these just little decoration accents, and then I'm going to select these three boxes, move them over. Once I've selected all of these boxes, I'm going to hit the duplicate button and then drag this over, and I will use the guides to make sure that they are aligned. Then I'm going to select all of the boxes and just make sure that I get that solid purple line there to see that they are centered. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is swap out the text in the template for the text that I want to include. So instead of price list, I'm going to do rate sheet, and instead of food menu, I will put my name. And I'm going to customize this later. I just want to get the copy in first. Then where it has a header over here where it says appetizer, instead of appetizer, I'm going to list my platform and repeat that same thing for each platform. Okay, and now I'm going to swap out the food items for different Instagram deliverables. So I'm gonna do feed post, story set, and usually I price this with 3 to 5 frames. Reel, live, and I think that's it for now on the Instagram front, unless there's NFTs or something I'm forgetting. But since I can only think of 4 things, I'm going to go ahead and delete that last price down there. Now I'm going to repeat that process for the other platforms that I have so that I can list all of the different deliverables for each platform, and I will speed through that process for you now. Okay, and now that I've filled in all of the deliverables, I can also go ahead and just adjust the formatting a little bit to make the spacing a bit more even. So I'll wait until I see those matching numbers. Bring this up a little bit as well. And then I am going to try to select everything and make it all a little bit bigger. And also move these slightly closer together so that I can drag them out this way. So here's what this is looking like so far. And the next thing that I'm going to do is actually just take a second and fix the colors and the fonts here, because this is just a template that I found on Canva, but I want to add my own personal brand colors and fonts that I like using. And what's actually really great about Canva, this is a pro feature that I'm going to show you, but it's one of my favorite things, which is that if I click on this tab here that says Styles, I am actually able to add my brand kit colors, and up here you can see some of the fonts that I use as well. So I should be able to just click on this, and automatically it has adjusted to my brand colors. And you can also tap this again to shuffle through, right? That made the rate sheet text of here this color. Let's see what else we've got. I think I kind of like this, where I've got rate sheet up here in this pink, and then down here you see a bit of the blue. So I feel like that's some nice variety. And I had to quickly hop in just to share that if you want to try a 30-day free trial of Canva Pro to get access to features like the brand kit, where you can instantly add your brand colors and fonts with just a few clicks, you can grab that from the link down below in the description box. And the next thing, of course, that I'll want to do is edit the fonts. So I'm going to select all of this here and choose just one font for that. I'm going to swap this font as well for one that I've uploaded, make that much smaller, drag it down. Okay, and I just went ahead and made some additional formatting updates to give it a non-white background, just move everything around so that it is the way I like it. So I really like how this is looking. And of course, the final thing that you'll want to do here is swap out the pre-listed prices for what your rates are for each one of these individual deliverables. Now, one other thing you could do is add a second page to this rate sheet and put together packages. So maybe when you typically get hired to do a TikTok video, you also offer to repost that to Reels. So you could create a second sheet or work this formatting a little bit differently to get to the point where you can list all of your individual platforms and all of your packages on the same page. But in general, this is the quick and easy way to put together a rate sheet in Canva. Now, in addition to your platform-specific deliverables and the packages that you may have, you may also want to add another page to this influencer rate sheet where you list out ideal deliverables for campaign-specific add-ons like exclusivity, usage rights, or even whitelisting. Now, if you're going to do this, what I would recommend is writing out what you'd like to charge for usage rights of different content types, so whether that is audio, video, or photo content, and list out also whether that will be for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. Now, if you're wondering why I separate it out like this, that's because generally there are 3 types of content: audio, photo, and video, with audio being the least expensive and video being the most expensive. And I recommend listing out both time and content type, because depending on the type of content and how long someone might want to use it for or ask you not to work with competitors for, that will impact how much you're charging for it. So if someone wants to license your audio content from a podcast or Clubhouse room, that's going to be less expensive than licensing video content, especially if you are featured in it. And the longer a brand wants to use your content, or the longer a brand wants you to not work with competitors, the more that's going to cost over time. So if I were to break it down in almost a chart format, licensing 1 month of audio content will be the least expensive option, and licensing up to 12 months of video content will be the most expensive option. I've spoken about this in some other videos before, but I do recommend trying to cap any usage, exclusivity, anything at no more than 12 months, just because after that, things get really hard to predict when it comes to pricing, what happens to that brand if someone buys or acquires them, how their messaging changes over time, and you don't want to be tied to a brand for too long for any one particular reason. Also because it's impossible to price out how the market and how money will change over time. And in terms of what to charge for usage, exclusivity, and these other add-ons, some creators will choose to charge a percentage of their content, and other creators will come up with a monthly flat fee. So if you decide on a fee for 1 month of usage, you can simply add that up and make it apply to 1, 3, 6, or 12 months of usage, which are generally the blocks of time that a brand will ask for usage of. Now, another question that I usually get when I talk about influencer rate sheets is how often should I update them? Like, how often should I be updating or increasing my pricing? In general, I recommend looking at your rate sheet once a quarter. You can even schedule a recurring reminder in your Google Calendar for the 1st of January, April, September, and no, I missed something in there. January, April, July, and October? That sounds right, like the start of each quarter. I do think that as the industry continues to grow, as your audience continues to grow, and as you continue to learn and pick up more skills as a creator, all of those things do warrant higher rates. Now, I do have 2 caveats to the once a quarter rule for updating your rates. So the first caveat is what happens if you go viral? If you've gone viral and suddenly your TikTok following goes from 10K to 50K followers, and you find that you still have really high engagement and community activity with that follower growth, that is a huge reason to increase your rates substantially. And my second caveat is not so much to make permanent updates to your rate sheet, but to consider adding a surcharge during busy times of the year. Our busy seasons will vary as a content creator, but some examples of a time where you might find yourself busier than others are maybe during the holidays, brands have reached out to hire you for more campaigns, and as a result, you add a percentage surcharge to your normal rate. Maybe you are a very niche type of creator. If you are a person of color and a brand wants to work with you during Black History Month, I do think that that warrants a surcharge on your rate as well. Similarly, if you are an LGBTQ plus creator and it is Pride Month, think about adding a surcharge. And another example I like to use is, say that it is back to school season and you are a mom blogger or a college student. That is another great reason to add a surcharge, because those back to school sales, deals, et cetera, are going to be even more relevant to your specific audience, and a brand will want to capitalize on that. So now that you know what other add-ons you might want to price out and how often you should be updating your influencer rate sheet, I do want to address why I don't share my rate sheet publicly with brands. When it comes to negotiating with brands, I always try to get a brand to share their budget with me first, at least to make sure that we are in the same ballpark before I ever share rates with them. There are 2 reasons why I do this. Number 1 is you could be leaving money on the table if you send your rate sheet and the brand was expecting to pay you 5 times that, and now suddenly they've seen your rate sheet, your pricing is exposed, and you're essentially going to get underpaid for your work. Another reason I don't love sharing this rate sheet with brands, even though it's pretty, we made it look nice, and it does technically have all the information on it, is every brand campaign tends to be really different. So I love having the rate sheet as a reference point so that when a brand comes to me and asks for some kind of unique package, for example, 1 TikTok video with 3 months of usage rights and 1 month of exclusivity, right? Not every brand is coming to me asking for those 3 specific things. So when I look at my rate sheet, I can use this to craft a custom quote for the brand partner and share it with them. Not only does that sound so much better to say to a brand, here is a custom quote that I've provided you for your individual campaign that I have taken the time to craft this quote for and calculate on my end, but it saves you from having to have them do additional work if they're looking at your rate sheet and they're trying to add up, okay, 1 TikTok video, we asked for 3 months, right, of usage, yeah, and then 1 month of exclusivity, but why is this? It gives them the opportunity to nitpick things, and you're creating additional work for them. So all of what I just showed you and how I crafted this influencer rate sheet, yes, it is all just for internal purposes. And you might be thinking, okay, but like, so why did I even just take the time to do this then? Well, for a few reasons. Number 1, like I said, it saves you time up front, so you know what your rates are without having to look. You can see how your rates change over time and make informed decisions about when to raise them based on what they have historically been listed at. You will save the brand time and will be able to provide them with a custom quote versus them having to go in and pull out all the individual deliverables from your rate sheet. Not to mention, it just legitimizes your creator business. When you have that internal list and document and it's all actually written down somewhere, that means that you're a real business owner. That means that this is a document that's part of a larger strategy for you as a content creator. And there's no better feeling in the world, at least in my experience, than having things that back up that what you do is a real business. It makes money, and this is one part of that. While content creation as a job is becoming more widely accepted, sometimes it is crazy to think about what we do day to day and say, wow, this is like a job that I have. And so creating these documents, having these systems in place makes your business feel even more legitimate. Don't forget to grab your 30-day free trial of Canva Pro from the link down in the description box, and be sure to watch my video about pricing up next so that you can figure out exactly what rates to put on your influencer rate sheet. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.